Understanding current and potential consumers' thoughts and feelings is essential for product innovation, design, and marketing. Zaltman's metaphor elicitation technique, ZMET, is a consumer research tool that uses metaphors and nonverbal communication to uncover and gain deeper insights into consumers' thoughts and emotions. ZMET uses consumer language and imagery to elicit and identify deep metaphors that are related to the topic of interest. In a typical ZMET interview, the interviewer asks the participant to explain their thoughts about a particular topic and prompts them to select pictures that they think are related to the topic. The participant then explains their thoughts using the pictures they selected. This encourages participant responses that are difficult to convey by other means. Instead of pictures, the participants use 3D objects and spaces in the virtual environment to express their thoughts and emotions. The affordances of VR, such as immersion, presence, and embodied interaction, can be used to improve the metaphor elicitation process itself, and to our knowledge, this research is the first to utilize 3D objects and spaces in a VR environment as a medium for ZMET interviews, moving beyond conventional images. We formulated the following hypotheses pertaining to the prototype VR system. Immersion and presence of the VR system increase participant engagement and lead to detailed and richer participants' responses in the interview. The VR system makes it easier to perform interview tasks such as sense-making and searching. Embodied interaction provides context and promotes elicitation of deep metaphors. We created a virtual home environment with indoor and outdoor spaces. This virtual environment is populated with a variety of objects. We conducted an exploratory user study in collaboration with consumer researchers at Procter & Gamble to evaluate the effectiveness of utilizing VR to augment the metaphor elicitation process. 17 participants were recruited for the user study. The participant puts on the Quest headset, and their view is mirrored on a big display screen in the room so that the interviewer can follow along. Each of the interview sessions was video and audio recorded, and the participants answered a pre-study questionnaire about prior VR experience and how comfortable they feel using VR. They also answered a post-study questionnaire for feedback and discussion about the interview experience. We also collected feedback from the consumer researchers after each interview. Each interview lasted about 50 to 70 minutes. The VR task portion lasted between 22 to 43 minutes, with an average duration of 36 minutes. We performed thematic analysis of the collected data, systematically organizing and categorizing the findings into various sections for clarity and understanding. All participants heard of VR with a mix of novice and more experienced users in the group. All participants are from varied disciplines outside CS, with generally positive attitude towards VR. Participants felt like they were really there. One participant remarked that the spatial nature and being immersed in the environment supported an in-depth exploration of their thoughts and feelings related to the subject matter, as well as relate to the interview questions on a deeper level. Other participants stated that the virtual environment provided them with diverse ideas and perspectives, rather than relying solely on their own imagination or mental imagery. Embodied interaction promoted sense of presence and made them feel like they are almost touching the object. It also helped with exploring different perspectives and see more details and physical features of the objects. However, the importance of interaction varied by individual, influenced by exploration styles and prior VR experience. Interaction duration ranged from 7 seconds to a minute. Analyzing the interactions together with interview conversation reveals that for all the interactions, the participants interacted at the beginning of explanation for a selected object or space, or during the exploration phase to identify new objects or spaces for selection. Participants mentioned that being immersed in VR helped them concentrate better on the space and their own emotions, as they felt like they were isolated and had fewer distractions compared to a physical room. They also remarked that they felt a sense of agency and equality, and were not compelled to make selections. The participants felt that wearing the headset allowed them to avoid the feeling of being watched or observed, All participants consistently responded in the post-study questionnaire that they felt like the number of objects and spaces within the virtual environment was just right to explain their thoughts and feelings. Participants reported that they were not overwhelmed by the number of objects and that they were able to explore and comprehend the environment, enabling them to find relevant object spaces to select easily. The interviewers remarked that seeing the objects and spaces in 3D, rather than merely seeing 2D pictures, was beneficial for the participants. The interviewers remarked that the virtual environment is more impactful and engaging to the participants when they are immersed in it. This immersion helps the participants to envision themselves within the space, which is essential for the metaphor elicitation process. However, they mentioned that in VR, the participants' facial expressions are not visible, and this poses a challenge as it is hard to gauge the participants' responses based on just verbal cues and gestures. They commented that the participants in the interviews have varied personas, noting that while VR may not significantly benefit individuals who can easily visualize mental images, it can be especially advantageous for others who have difficulty envisioning specific scenarios, such as aphantasics. They believed that VR is most beneficial for participants with specific personas, suggesting that it should augment rather than replace conventional ZMET interviews. The qualitative and quantitative analysis of the data demonstrated how immersion, presence, and embodied interaction positively affect and aid in sense-making and deeper expression of the participants' thoughts, perspectives, and emotions. Future work aims to develop guidelines for designing and implementing systems for conducting metaphor elicitation interviews. While interactions with 3D objects were beneficial, individual differences in exploration styles and interaction frequencies suggest the need for personalized strategies to encourage interaction.